This video is a data dump based on me looking up a bunch of different subjects that do actually glom together, and I was actually surprised they would. Price tags for lead on Amazon as a worst case scenario. Lead going rate is $1 a pound, let's say. It is, but every day it's going to be different and someone's going to say I'm wrong. Larger nuggets, 3/4 inch across, suitable for chopping in half because they're 1 inch long, to make solid slugs, or at least the starting point for melting them to make solid slugs. Yell at me later after you watch the video. $5.40 a pound. But you have to buy 10 pounds of them. That's going to screw you on the shipping. Buy it local. Or dig it up from the range. 3/8 solid lead wire on a spool, 25 pounds, $164. 9 millimeter, 9.5 actually, $6.56 a pound. $8 a pound, 1/4 inch solid lead wire. Nothing else said. Amazon. These are used for all sorts of things. Not just bullets. Slingshot or buckshot. Lead diving weights or fishing weights. Some of the molds are interchangeable or can be made that way. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Lead solder pots, furnaces, kilns, ovens, or smelters. You can get a unit that'll do tinning of wires for $22, all the way up to $300 for the big boy version, well, it's actually a little boy version, for melting lead to fill up bullets. They both use 300-watt heating elements, about the same dimensions, and the same temperature range. The solder pot can go hotter, actually. $22 instead of $300 or $200. Thermometers that are used. Old school mechanical ones with a little thingy that moves like that can be used to temperature control a dumb heater. You can also use the bimetal heating element tester thing for a deep fryer or your average hot plate. That'll work. You can also temperature control it by turning a knob on what would be a light dimmer. It turns the power on and off 60 times a second or more, depending on the type, and is able to control the heat. Thermometers can go from anywhere from $8 for a mechanical probe to $47 one that has a much longer probe and is designed to handle the subject at hand. However, they're both 1,000 Fahrenheit and they're both the same maker, so it's the same one, they just have a longer stick. You can get a digital probe for $31, 1,000 degrees Celsius, almost 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's $31 and that's really worth it. Mechanical probes can also go in the same range, but they're almost impossible to find. 1,200 degrees is plenty enough, more than you need. Same thing as 1,000 degrees. And you get infrared probes too, which means no contact. Some of them even have an alarm or even a relay for turning on and off power or an experiment. $8 to $47. What about a dipper? If you don't want to use the really expensive one with a little hole at the bottom that you press a button and it drops the stuff out. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. A ladle dipper. Well, a bottom pour lead casting ladle, the deluxe one, $32 for a cheap one if you can get it from the source. They charge you a shit ton on shipping. Amazon, it's ridiculously expensive for the same thing. It's basically a metal bowl, cast iron, on a stick, handle, with a built-in straw that goes to the bottom so that the top stuff, which is going to be less dense, almost always, than the lead, will float to the top so you don't get a bunch of crap in there that is lightweight stuff like carbon and crap. $6, one that's bigger than that. It's made out of stainless steel instead of cast iron. It's used for pouring gravy, separating oil and fat. But I've seen it used, and it works about the same. You just have to fill it half full. Since it's almost double the diameter, or double volume, excuse me, that's okay. And you might be able to buy a couple of them and see if they work better than doing the $32 one that's supposed to be used. Depending on what you're melting, it will attack the metal anyway. You also get one that has a little spout in the bottom for pouring, so it's more directed. So it's a funnel that's made out of cast iron. See also cast iron toy pots, teapots, that you can buy that are actually about the same sort of standard. It has the straw at the bottom and the little tiny spout. And it's a better position because it's designed to pour without spilling because it has a lid. For $4. It's literally a cast iron toy teapot. And you can put a handle on it. Yeah, you end up looking in the toy sections and fishing sections for making bullets. Heating element. You can buy the replacement heating element for the $300 furnace or smelter or whatever they want to call it and just use it. Yeah, that's a thing. You can also buy, if you want to DIY it, a $47 450 watt heating element that's only 2 inches across, a little over. They all get smaller than that. Or get one that's designed to heat up to ridiculously high temperatures. Water pipe or sewer pipes, for some reason, they make them. But they're a band you wrap around a pipe to heat it up. And it's not for melting solder like I thought it would be, where you would form a solder joint or lead joint. It's literally just for heating up metal. There's others that are for heating up plastic tubing for industrial purposes. Or you can just buy the replacement heating element. The heating element I don't have the price tag for, but you can also just use a hot plate and a griddle or a deep pot sitting on top of it. Let's talk about the 8-pound lead pots that are used for that purpose. Because you just put it on a hot plate. Or you could just stick it in the $22 300 watt. They're all 300 watt, by the way. You can put it in there as a deluxe model that doesn't react as badly, and it just sits there. That's literally the same one. What do they charge for that one? Well, it's a flat bottom cast iron lead pan. Unlined. Unseasoned. 4-inch outside diameter and 2 1/4 inch tall. Holds about 8 pounds of lead, $31. Doesn't have a handle, it has a bail handle on top. Doesn't seem like something I'd want to pick up. Or you can get the $12 flat bottom cast iron saucepan, internal dimensions, it's the same pot. They just list the internal dimensions. It has a handle. It's in the notions section. So let's review. $12 versus $31. $22 versus $300. $8 versus $47. $6 versus $32. $10 versus $50. A lot of range to work with. Hope I've saved you some time and some energy and some money. And again, you can get lead from anywhere from $1 a pound if you buy it scrap. It's just poured masses. All the way up to $8 a pound for stuff that's ready to go to be turned into bullet cores or be run through a roller for a candy machine in the old days to make lead shot that's 1/4 inch across. Let's talk about shot, masses, and equivalents. 12 gauge slugs in the form of a round ball. Round balls are actually more than an ounce. They're based on a 73 caliber, or really 72.9 caliber, 18.5 millimeter approximate diameter round ball of lead, 1/12 of a pound. That means that it's going to be 1.33 ounces, 38 grams, 583 grains, round ball. Versus the lead you can buy off of, roto metals that's just 2 slugs waiting to happen. Now, that, if you divided it down more than 10 times, would be double-aught buck. Double-aught buck works out at 54 grains or so. 3.5 grams, 1/8 of an ounce. Hint, hint, that's also a bullet weight measure for a round ball and also a bullet weight measure for bullet sinkers for fishing. It's 1/8 of an ounce sinker. You can just look up the 1/8 of an ounce. They also have 1/16 of an ounce. But the 1/8 of an ounce, or 33 caliber round ball, double-aught buck, is also about the same weight for the lighter end of AR-15 rifle rounds. They're .223 Winchester or .556 NATO bullets. You can use it as a seed material, roll it to the right diameter, put it inside of a copper jacket that's got a little bit of tinning flux in it, heat it up in an oven that goes up high enough, it's called a kiln sometimes, roast your bullets rather than pouring them. That also anneals the copper, does all the steps at once, and it has the effect of making a very nice bullet. And you can weigh it perfectly, which is the most important thing in some cases to getting the bullet to hit correctly, besides swaging the bullet afterwards, which you have to do. Well, that's double-aught buck. What about number 4 buck or number 1 buck or number 2 buck? Nobody talks about number 2. Bullet weights for 22 caliber bullets. 22 long rifle, Magnum, and Winchester rimfire. Works out to be about the same mass as a 31 caliber 1.5 buck ball. 45 grains, almost 3 grams, around about a ninth or an eighth of an ounce. Very close to double-aught buck, but not quite. What about 22 long rifle weights, or 22 long, the old version that came out a long time before that? That's equivalent to number 2 buck, 27 caliber, 29 to 30 grains, almost 2 grams, but it's actually 1.88 grams, so we have to call it correctly, or a 15th of an ounce, almost like the 16th of an ounce, which is one of the smallest little pellet types that you can get for sinkers. Also, these are slingshot sizes as well. You can also find these in ankle weights or weights that are used for all sorts of things. The smallest ones here are the CB and BB cap, the weakest round you can fire out of a 22. It's a rimfire cartridge based on taking a musket cap, the igniter, cramming it to the correct shape to be a rimfire, then lining it with a priming compound, and then stuffing a little round ball in it that was 24 caliber, but they and then get it to 22, making it sort of bullet shaped, or they make it pointy for the CB version of it, but the BB is literally a round ball. 21 grain, 1.3 gram, 1/20th of an ounce. I can't find any molds for that, but that's the upper limit for the size you can do by dripping lead from a pan into water. Yeah, well, not water, it's another mix. But that's number 4 buck. Speed's everything. Number 4 buck coming out of a shotgun, let's say 1,500 feet per second, versus the CBBB cap coming out at maybe 300 feet per second. Like a pellet gun. Dripping. You can drip lead from, it's literally a flat edge frying pan looking thing with holes cut in it, with little spouts put in it that are a millimeter or something like that. The largest ones will produce almost the same size as number 4 buck. Well, not quite. It's actually much smaller than that, but somebody did the experiment, got it to work sometimes. They had to sift it. They ended up with birdshot mixed with really small buckshot. It's number 4. What's the best? The best sizes. Well, let's go back to the pellet guns. 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 15% ballistic gel, calibrated with a 600 feet per second pellet, not 300. 5 grain steel 17 caliber BB gun pellet. Has to go 3 inches in. Calibration point. You notice the temperature has to be 40 degrees. If you haven't seen people doing that, they're not doing the test right. Let's move on to the other fallacies. And no, it's not 15% ballistic gel. I said that to annoy people. It has to be 10%. Yeah. ATF versus INS. They have different standards. You're all misquoting everybody. By the way, it has to be a copper-coated steel pellet. Most of you guys don't do that. Any cartridge meeting a 1 foot minimum bullet depth for whatever gel mix you did and whatever test parameters that didn't match any of this shit. If it can go 1 foot into it, that will also pass through 4 walls. Even if they're 10 foot apart, even if they have wire and fiberglass inside of them and they're drywalls. This doesn't account for hitting the studs, pipes, whatever. Any bullet that can actually be lethal to a person. The only exception to this, potentially lethal at 1 foot depth, was birdshot. But birdshot won't, I know. That's why you make a lead slug, and it will work. People arguing in the comment sections piss me off. What's better, number 4 buck, number 1 buck, or double-aught buck? None of them are considered the standard for any of the agencies. Everybody quotes that. It's not true. So anyway, can you get a candy roller from the 1800s or a remake these days to make round balls? Yes. Can you get one that'll tolerate lead sheet? Yes, apparently. It does better if you put in lumps. Can you swedge lead wire through molds? Yeah. Can you do a 2-stage core swaging? Can you use hot cast? Can you do all these methods? Yes. Can you do it cheaply? I just gave you the links and the information to do it if you want to. Is this worthwhile? A fishing kit will get you more poundage and more lifespan with the least amount of weight and the least amount of cost than a shotgun. Don't forget that. It's survivalism and prepping, not gun advocacy. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And yeah, y'all doing your gel tests wrong.